Tapos of Jackro is more than just a point of sale. They've been a leading innovator in cinema software for 30 years and counting. In that time, they've learned that a good supplier needs to be a good partner. That's why their long-standing Tapos customer promise is to share regular upgrades with all their partners, always at no additional cost. Discover why hundreds of cinemas, circuits, and family entertainment centers around the world trust Tapos for seamless ticketing, sophisticated food and beverage features, inbuilt customer relationship management, and much more. During CinemaCon 2026, come see the Tapos team at booth 821 in the Julius Ballroom, or book a demo at any time via the link at taposapp.com.
It's really between the generative AI and the traditional search that's being answered by an AI overview that's close to 75% of searches for a brand new product or service that are being answered by an AI. So it's massive.
This is the Box Office Podcast in our final episode of our CinemaCon 2026 Daily Edition, brought to you by our friends at Tapos with support from Luma, 4D Emotion, and the Box Office Company. And in today's episode, we are going to be going over the studio presentations from Amazon, MGM, Paramount, and Disney. And then in our big feature interview part of the show, we've got a complete recording of that Monday afternoon panel going over AI and its practical uses in exhibition. A great conversation moderated by Unique CEO Laura Ulgat with our colleague from the Box Office Company, Maureen Suttle, our good friend in exhibition, Brian Schultz from Look Dine In Cinemas, and representing View International, Otto Turden. A great look at how AI is transforming the movie theater business, not in theory, but in practice. So guys, let's get started, because here in our roundtable, we've got a couple special guests. Rebecca Pauley from Box Office Pro and Diogo Hausen from the Box Office Company. You guys know them already. You also might have heard of our good friend Albert Lorenz, a content partner over at AMC Theaters. You've seen him there on the big screen. He's now here recording with us. Albert, welcome back.
I'm so happy to be here. Thank you for having me, Daniel.
We missed you last year, man. It's a better show on the last day with you here.
I came ready with some hot takes for you.
You don't miss me. I wasn't here last year either.
I take everything around me for granted except Albert Lorenz. And we also have, talking about things I take for granted, my CEO of the Box Office Company, Stan Ruskowski. Stan, welcome. Second appearance?
Yeah, second appearance.
That's
Thank you,
good.
Daniel, Rebecca, Diogo. Cool to be with Albert also. Hey, everybody.
Yeah, well, with Stan's present here, we are not going to be partaking in the old school Hollywood buffet at CinemaCon, but we are going to be going over a lot of exciting footage reveals. Let's start with Amazon MGM, guys, because we've got a lot to go over before we close with my favorite segment, which is the senior year superlatives at CinemaCon 2026. We're going to name our favorite parts of the show. But yeah, Amazon MGM, let's start with that. It was an important presentation for the studio because last year they said they were going to come in with 15 theatrically released titles in 2026. They're on track. They're fulfilling that commitment, and we saw some great footage coming off, of course, the great success of Project Hail Mary earlier last quarter. We walked into that Amazon MGM presentation, let's say a little bit jaded. I think we were underwhelmed.
I mean, we'd had the Universal presentation earlier that day, and that was not the best presentation. I feel like we kind of needed a boost, needed that a little something to get us through to the last day here. And Amazon delivered. I mean, they really delivered. Had budget.
Well, yeah. I mean, you show up, you walk in with modern jazz. That delivers the big bucks at the box office. And I am saying, of course, John Baptiste opening the Amazon MGM presentation with a piano on stage, playing with a fantastic score that he's got going on for the Thomas Crown Affair. A new title coming out from Amazon MGM, directed by Michael B. Jordan, Academy Award winner. Michael B. Jordan.
Not both of them.
And how amazing was it to see in that trailer where they got a chance to immediately put Academy Award winner Michael B. Jordan. They were just waiting to put that in there.
I was absolutely hyped. I haven't seen either of the two.
No way.
Before.
Oh, you're in for a treat.
I came in knowing something about paintings, I guess. And
No, like there's some Magritte stuff in the remake. Watch them.
Sure.
They're both very
Okay.
good, and this one looks like it's going to build an identity of its own within the entirety of the films that came before it. This shot up to my list as a must-watch,
Yes.
but we knew that coming in. We knew that we were going to be impressed by, Michael B. Jordan. I thought Creed 3 was very good, and I'm glad to see him, with this modern remake. That was followed with some footage of Masters of the Universe, which is also the only reason why Diogo agreed to come to this.
We had the little foam swords on the way.
Yeah, we were given foam swords as we walked into the Coliseum.
I was.
Damn, why did I miss that one?
Yeah, sorry, man. I'm
You
sorry.
can have my foam sword. I don't know if it's going to fit in my suitcase.
my wife begged me to not bring home any toy swords from Masters of the Universe, and they handed me one.
I was not Masters of the Universe was not. It wasn't a thing for me as a kid. I'm pumped. This looks so stupid. This looks so stupid. It looked like Power Ranger vibes, which both Power Rangers movies, I liked them both, and a little bit of like Wachowski Speed Racer vibes in there.
Yeah, that's a good
shout.
shout.
And it's referencing the old art, the old memes, the what's going on memes. I was texting people like, I'm gonna watch Masters of the Universe.
I have to ask, though, because Diogo and I are from Latin America. He-Man was massively popular in a childhood. In France, Stan was...
For me, that was when I was in Canada. It was
a wee
huge.
man.
Okay.
It was huge, but I might be a bit older than you guys. But.
Slightly. We won't hold that against you. But no, I mean, this is a cross-generational thing. I mean, the fact that, your generation, Stan, is a big fan of it. Diogo and I are big proponents of it. There's a global appeal to this film across different cultures, different generations. We'll see where the rest of the film goes, but the footage that we saw, to be very honest, I had heard some things behind the scenes. Albert, you had to...
I have not heard anything specifically behind the scenes, but I did not come into this with the love for the IP. I'll just say.
Yeah. I think there were questions on what we were going to see.
Right.
I came out very, very confident.
They had the MGM logo with the green tiger.
Yes, Battle Cat was there.
Yes,
and honestly, there was so much commitment to showing us Masters of the Universe for the presentation that I thought for a moment that they were just going to dedicate their entire presentation to just play the movie.
Amazon MGM, I think, made an impact last year. And this year, the question is, what do you have for me lately? What's next? Because you can't live off Project Hail Mary enough.
Well,
and they delivered.
Said one movie does not a slate make.
They understood that. And I think they delivered. And of course, they delivered not only with Masters of the Universe, but with the most highly anticipated January sequel of all time. Yes. I am speaking about The Beer Keeper 2. No, I'm already...
You're 2 beers already.
Yeah, I'm 2 Beer Keepers in.
That's your autobiography.
I am sorry.
We had just Jason Statham just hamming it up in full spy mode on a video, not actually there, but...
Beekeeper 2 footage that we saw.
Beekeeper 2 Mo problems, I don't know.
Yeah.
Beekeepers have kidnapped the president.
That was the best line of any trailer. There's a line of dialogue in the trailer, which it's already like best original screenplay quality. Someone says out loud, the beekeepers have kidnapped the president. Just followed by punching and shooting. Why would you not want to see this?
Jason Statham gets shot, and the other character's like, do you need to go to the hospital? He's like, no, I'm just going to stand in a cloud of bees and sting me.
But it reminded me of Candyman, that shot. I was like, this is terrifying. But I love that Jason, he knows exactly what this movie is. Even the pun with like the honey, the bear honey bottle or whatever, and just like kind of pouring that
into it.
It feels like the Magic Mike XXL tradition of the sequel being just more.
Yeah.
But it kind of is like what Denis Villeneuve said for Dune Part 3 is like, this is the fun, this is one for the fans.
Yeah, and I felt
Dune
that way.
Part 3, be a keeper,
No, this was great. We saw a little bit of the Sheep Detectives. We're not the target audience. Let's just move on. It's a long episode.
Hey, we're charmed.
Oh, you guys are stopping me. We're stopping for Sheep Detectives. You know what? All you. Tell me about your sheep movie.
I laughed out loud.
None of you.
I thought it was funny.
None of you were watching this.
It was very
Paddington.
And Nicholas Braun, he is super duper charming as well too. We know him from Succession. And
Okay.
Cousin Greg.
And meanwhile, I'm going to give a shout out to Cult Is My Passport, a remake of the Japanese noir film by one of my favorite directors of all time. The Raid's Gareth Evans.
Oh man,
Both Raids are masterpieces. The Raid, I think, for me, is among the top 3 best action films ever made.
This film was not on my radar at all. Like a
You know what?
Yakuza neo-noir blaxploitation movie.
You know why it wasn't? Because Gareth Evans, after the Raid redemption, we all thought his career was going to take off. He made the mistake of going to Netflix. You haven't heard from him because he's been making Netflix movies that, by the way, are 2 of the 3 are pretty good. But no one's seen them. No one's talking about them. Edit note. Edit note. Why are you doing this to me? Let's put in the edit note.
You got the one shot in the trailer of John Cho is the bad guy with like a gold grill and a blowout for the ages.
Yes.
Well, no one's heard of him, so it doesn't matter. It's what happens when you go to Netflix, unfortunately, right? But the good thing is, A Cult Is My Passport looks absolutely fun. There's blaxploitation vibes in there, of course, the Yakuza element, this being a Japanese noir adaptation.
1978 Detroit, like it's a period movie.
This shot up on my list. And like you, it wasn't on my radar. And then as soon as they said, hey, there's a new Gareth Evans movie coming to theaters. And to be fair, I'm not sure if the first Raid got a wide I don't think it got a wide theatrical release. I don't know who distributed it. But the second one, if I'm not mistaken, this might be a mistake, I think was a Sony Pictures Classics release.
Really?
I think it was like it might have been something like the Screen Gems label or something weird that didn't really make sense at all for a genre picture. But here, my point is, this feels like the first time Evans has a studio that gets him distributing his movie. Another title that really popped out at me is Verity. I think there's a lot of box office potential here.
I wasn't sure even what it was because it's a Colleen Hoover adaptation, but the previous 3 have been very drama, weepy. This one looks a lot more, thriller, a lot sexier, more like Housemaid. Kind of like Special Place in Hell too, we saw the trailer for that earlier from I forget who.
I'm pretty sure it was Neon.
Neon, that's right. Yeah, it's sexy people doing sexy things.
Like sexy movies are back. It feels like that.
Yes,
they were gone for like 15 years, and we're finally
like an erotic thriller. Would you count this as that? Maybe
Wild Things reboot. Let's hope for it. Shot at Ransom Everglades. You know that, Diogo.
To Amazon's point about like. We are Amazon, so we have the ability to market these things like crazy if we choose to. They were just handing out copies of the book as everyone left. Like,
which promptly ended up like strewn all over the casino. You're walking over like around Caesar's Palace, and there's just copies of Verity that people have left by the slot machines and the food court, unfortunately.
I might read it.
You're reading it? I hope so. It looked good. I want to see the movie.
It'll spoil the movie.
Yeah, the movie looks fun. I think there's box office potential there. We'll see how that plays out later on this year. Let's go now to the 20.
A sharp mood turn after that.
Well, yeah, because how do you follow up Verity? You follow it up with footage from The Chosen Crucifixion.
Man.
And we just got a lot of it's what it is. It's crucifixion movie of the big one, right? Yeah,
Dallas Jenkins, the audience is going to show up.
Yeah. Where do you put that in the show? You don't open with a crucifixion movie. You don't close with it. Yeah, you kind of throw it in the middle.
Throw it after the erotic thriller.
And then just move on, gloss over it. That's coming out in 2027. And we're entering the 2027 part of the Amazon MGM slate presentation. And this, for me, is my vote for the best title presented at CinemaCon 2026, official title announcement of Spaceballs, the new one.
I was talking with Eric before CinemaCon, and we were like, Spaceballs is getting theatrical. Like all of those legacy reboots are like they're just streaming junk. They go on streaming, and you watch it, and you're like, okay, maybe it's good, but like the theatrical, I just was like unconvinced that it would be even like 5% worthy of, and it looked, I mean, because you have Josh Greenbaum who directed Barbara and Stargo to Vista Del Mar, which I really enjoyed. It looked like
one of the best comedies of the last 20 years. Love that movie. Yeah,
Spaceballs, the CinemaCon presentation is what they had on at one point. They had a guy out in one of the stormtroopers.
Yes,
Spaceballs, the photo on a little placard.
Yes,
like they were. And I mean, Rick Moranis coming out. I was like,
Rick Moranis. There's a lot of funny bits. Video message from Mel Brooks. A good amount of footage, more than I think any of us imagined there would be.
Very and they lampshaded this in the footage we got as well. It's a lot of good-looking little bits. Edited together very quickly. So it's definitely tough to tell anything without, I feel like
Yeah.
I didn't see more than 15 consecutive seconds.
Right.
But as a starting point,
We were scream laughing, absolutely. It was hilarious.
And I do feel like it was one of the live stage bits that worked. Because not every single bantering moment happens.
You know why?
Especially
We were
this
talking about this all week.
Yeah.
We were wondering why everything was falling flat on stage. Teleprompter. The teleprompter
Oh, yeah,
was
totally.
dude,
They fucked
failing
up all day.
all day.
Oh.
Seriously, everyone. You've given speeches up there before, right?
Yeah, no,
Using
no,
that
and
teleprompter. It's
time it was
terrifying.
I wouldn't want to be in the production
You see
side.
the
'cause they were-
actors, they were like they were even talking about it, like they were mentioning it, like
It was tough, but they were able to
Talking to
rescue that here, and I think that you're right. On stage, there was the best on stage portion of the show.
It is the part where,
Better than Snoop?
That's a good thing.
Yeah,
about,
I know.
About
Snoop
CinemaCon.
was-
CinemaCon shines. You have the filmmakers like just explaining why they wanted to make this movie.
Yeah.
It's why I think like Twisters, The Eyes of Chung, with that CinemaCon
Right.
presentation was good. Because it was like another Twisters movie, but he came out and was like, "No, I grew up in the Midwest."
And he defended
this is
it.
important to me.
And he came out with the best immersive seating movie of all time, Twisters.
Nice.
Love that.
Big
Well,
Town Hall.
Our friends at Luma that are sponsoring this episode, I'm begging you guys, re-release that in theaters. I would highly appreciate it.
Although Matinee Tuesday.
Anytime. Let's go over now to more of these future titles that are coming up. We had Highlander by my spiritual best friend Chad Stahelski. I love this guy's movies. I love the way he directs action. Honestly, today, it's Gareth Evans and Chad Stahelski. That's my dynamic duo of action movies I will see at any given point.
I've seen Highlander. It wasn't one for me, but I came out of that like I want to rewatch some Highlander. Henry Cavill like taking that Scottish accent up to 11. Dave Bautista with a weird little slick back Nazi mohawk.
Yeah, this used to be a TV show, right? I mean, Stan, you're a little
Highlander?
older. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I was a big fan of Highlander.
Yeah, it was like
Yeah.
hugely popular.
And how is it super violent?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I mean,
Oh,
it's
yes.
John Wick with swords.
Yeah, also.
And decapitation.
Cool.
Yeah, I mean, it's don't take your kids.
Yeah.
Maybe the older
Yeah,
ones.
but that's how it should be.
Yeah, it should be. Yeah, if you want a Highlander movie, you want it to kick butt, and this one does that.
But Cavill's also another actor who we haven't seen up on the big screen a whole lot.
He has
Yeah.
the people who got locked in the superhero pipeline.
Exactly.
Mhm.
And I'm glad that he's left and he's making cool movies.
The next one I was like kind of
I
in
know.
my head to look
I
over at
know.
you like, is Daniel doing okay?
Say
I
it.
wasn't hooting and hollering the way Diogo was, but
Why?
well, because we closed the Amazon MGM presentation with footage of I Play Rocky, which is a dramatization of the real story of Sylvester Stallone writing Rocky
Just
and
with
producing the
cast there,
film.
They gave it a nice. You're just the only opinion.
I was okay, so I was hesitant about because I didn't even talk about it in our preview episode. I didn't want to put any expectations into the universe, and the universe gave me something that looks really, really good. And it's probably like I can't talk my wife into going to see the Fathom Entertainment re-release of Rocky IV with me. That's strictly a Scott Hanlon phone call when he's in the Northeast. But I think I can take my wife to see I Play Rocky. This looked really good. It looked touching.
It looked like, I mean, I was just thinking the other day about Dolomite Is My Name and how good of making movies that
Yeah.
was and how much of a pain in the ass it was that it just went to Netflix.
Well, this one's going to Amazon
the guy
MGM.
sounds like Sylvester Stallone sounds. He has
Yeah.
these gargling the nails. He sounds.
Everyone, you know what the difference is? And we talked about the Social Reckoning earlier this week, right, with Sony. I felt, and I don't know because we haven't seen the film, but in the footage presented, the way the footage of the Social Reckoning was presented, it seemed like an SNL impression of Mark Zuckerberg. In I Play Rocky, it didn't seem like anyone was doing an impression. They really embodied the people, during this time period.
He's relatively new, but
Yeah.
I looked him up afterwards. He'd been in some things.
And
but
maybe
not-
that helps. Maybe I'm being unfair because Jeremy Strong is such a recognizable actor and an established actor, right? And I think that's a really good point. I think the fact you put a new face playing a very recognizable A-lister at that point in his career is key. I can't wait for that one. That's shooting up on top of my
Peter
list.
Farrelly.
Yeah.
And
Yikes. Yeah, I know. That's why I was so nervous. I didn't want to say that out loud. But, when I saw from the director of Green Book, I was like, oh, no. Oh boy, what am I gonna do?
But I think that it's a really smart move from Amazon MGM. A great way for them to mine their IP, but in a way that's not just adding another number on the end of a Rocky or on the end of a Creed. Yes.
And we were all terrified that they were gonna come up and say Project Hail Mary 2.
Oh yeah.
Like that would have been a nightmare. No, they came in with original films.
Mm-hmm.
We need this with different genres, different demographics. I was very happy, and I think that's why I think we all agree. Amazon MGM over-delivered.
They did.
And not only over-delivered, they kept their promise. They said 15 movies. They gave us 15 movies, and they're coming back with more. I couldn't be happier with having them in this industry.
And a lot of attention in the presentation was paid to the team that was assembled, that they're veterans of this industry, that they have hard-won connections. It was very much like, we are of you, we are here for you, we are going to throw money at you to do the things we need to do. Yeah,
they're building a great team.
They knew
totally
their,
really, really
their
good stuff.
audience,
And
for sure.
And to go back to them throwing money at things, they were able to convince so much of their talent to come out.
And the fact that the talent, at the end of it, all the talent came back out for a selfie. I'm like, you're telling me that everybody stayed through everybody else?
It was great.
It
Well,
wasn't
we don't want to.
It was a late night.
Yeah.
I don't want to move on before we talk about our good friend Helen Moss actually coming onto the stage. That was a great moment. No, one of, I think, the executives we absolutely love in this industry, building out a global distribution team. And she was given the spotlight. I think, Stan, those of us that have followed Helen's career for many years, that have worked with her, her time at Paramount was fantastic. For her to be given the spotlight, to come out and say, I'm building a global distribution arm to make sure these movies hit your theaters. Our colleagues in Europe are going to be very, very happy with what's coming.
No, it's super exciting to see her on that stage, and she's building also around her a great team.
Let's keep on going here, because today, as we record this on Thursday, we open the morning with the Paramount presentation. And where's my high five? Because I called it. Who shows up to open up that conversation but David Ellison, the new head of the studio? His time is in demand in Washington, D.C., and he still made the time to come here. And I think he delivered what he needed to. Now, whether people believe it or not is a different thing, right?
He said the same thing that he'd already said. There's nothing he can say to...
But he said it in person.
He said it in person in front of everybody.
Exactly.
And to Daniel's point, I think that it was needed. It was fantastic that he could come.
Yeah.
But it was needed, and I think everyone in the room needs to hear him really promising that.
If he hadn't showed up, it would have been like borderline insulting.
And honestly, yes, because those were the stakes we needed. Whether it happens or not, that's not in any of us control. What we can see is for the person that's driving this, which is a highly unpopular merger. This is probably the most unpopular thing happening in Hollywood today. For him to show up in person and say, this is the actual quote that he told the auditorium. I wanted to look every single one of you in the eye and give you my word. Once we combine, we're going to make a minimum of 30 films across both studios. And then he went on by saying every one of those movies starting today is going to receive a minimum 45-day window. And here's the important part too. They're not going to SVOD until 90 days.
That's an important
That's key.
90 days. Really totally. That was like big news.
The pivot period is very important in this equation. So he's saying the right things. And as we go over this, again, highly unpopular merger, nobody that in this industry is speaking about it as like, I'm really excited for this. But if this happens, how you go through it is important. And I think that was the issue with the Netflix part of the equation, where an executive who spent years saying negative things about the industry had to take them all back and sell you a couple of lines at the finish line. And that was really hard to believe. He had a meeting that I can confirm because I verified it.
They talked about it at the roundtable, like the fact that he kept, even after the merger fell apart, Ted Sarandos kept the meeting, he showed up.
Yeah, so to our listeners, and this was confirmed, I followed up with our colleagues, Ted Sarandos had a meeting with Cinema United and with a number of major exhibition chains at CinemaCon. He had meetings scheduled that he scheduled during the time when Netflix was the leading bid. He did not cancel those meetings. Ted Sarandos was here. That is 100% confirmed. He kept those meetings. I'm not going to name names. I spoke to people that spoke to Ted Sarandos, and they came out very happy and very hopeful from those meetings. A lot of credit has to be set to that. There's also credit, we have to say, that in this context, you go on and you don't take private meetings, you take a public stance in front of everyone. Because it's one thing to speak to a major circuit. It's one thing to speak to all the independent theater owners, to everyone in that room. And that's the other distinction that we have to establish here. What makes the United States unique as an exhibition market is the fact that there are so many different exhibitors. There are independents, there are mom and pop shops, and they need to hear this too. For me, personally, it's not enough to take a meeting with a publicly traded company behind closed doors. Put your face out there, put your name out there, give me your word. And I think based on all of this, Paramount did everything right in the first 10 minutes. Where they went a little wrong is when it came to talking about movies, because unfortunately, I don't think the slate is there, guys.
No.
Let's talk about some of those titles coming up here.
A lot of attention was put on the first ever Call of Duty movie. There was a montage, a reel. I don't know if it was gameplay footage. Is this an animated movie?
It was
Is
a
this
little.
live action
No, it's a
movie?
live action movie. So
Well, 'cause
that's
it
the
was
big.
just gameplay footage.
No, some of it was, to be fair. The big reveal, the big headline here is that the Call of Duty video game adaptation that Paramount Skydance is putting out, we got some footage of it. Peter Berg is directing the title. Some gameplay footage was spliced in, I think mostly for the fans, but it was the first real look at this as a real thing.
But I wonder if they've learned anything from Halo. Because I remember there was a lot of hype when Halo was being turned into a narrative property, and it just kind of dissipated. So
you know what happened to it? Paramount Plus happened to it. You dump that on Paramount Plus, nobody knows it happened. If they had turned all that momentum into a Halo movie, it would have been different. And again, going back to what they're doing right, and you're going to hear me criticize this company for a long time, so let me give them the credit. This is done right. They didn't make the Halo mistakes. It wasn't the streaming series. They're putting a great director at the helm of this movie and making it a theatrical event and promoting it 2 years before it comes out. They're doing things the way they should be. I am still, even with the letdowns, I'm impressed with what they're doing.
We got a lot of here are the franchises we have, and we're doing more movies
Yeah.
without any additional information, which is kind of disappointing.
Longleg sequel. That was surprising. That came out of nowhere.
But we're getting new Star Treks, new World War Z's.
The new World War Z
Transformers,
is
new G.I.
weird,
Joe,
right?
New
Yeah.
new Top Gun. We did get briefly, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie. We didn't get anything on this. So
There's
I don't
another
know,
one.
But there's going to be Krang. And I'm excited that they're bringing the anthropomorphic sassy brain.
Yeah.
Get weird with it.
Yeah.
Right?
Good.
And like Shredder.
Good for
They're
them.
finally just going to do Shredder in a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie.
Yeah, that was a great sort of little shout out. We got a little shout out for A Quiet Place Part 3. We got to see a little presentation on foot.
A new version of Possession
Is there?
with Margaret Qualley. Yeah,
I did not know that.
A new
Wow.
Paranormal Activity. Yeah, it was in the little like.
They just flashed on screen. They've got a lot of things going on.
They had a lot of them, and Warner Brothers were tied for the most. We have a lot of movies coming up, guys. I swear.
Keep it up, please.
Yes.
That's what we just make sure that's
Yeah,
consistent.
I had a good laugh on scary movies.
Yeah, we have talked about that. Scary Movie was a really good comedy. And this is the one where I wasn't sold coming in. If I had to pick a movie that I was like, hey, before CinemaCon, I'm not going to watch. This trailer was good. It was a new trailer reveal, I believe, and it was hilarious. I thought that was very funny.
Just came out with a scroll of all the people that they were going to offend.
Yeah, and they will.
Vermont.
And then the fact maybe it also helps that I've actually seen the movies they're spoofing. So I think that's a big part of it. And there was a time when it was a production line when these movies came out every 18 months, and there wasn't much to spoof. It was just the dumb part of the comedy. They've had a big gap. So there's a lot here that they can spoof. I'm looking forward to it. Actually, this is the one movie that I wasn't going to buy a ticket for, that now I am planning to buy a ticket for. And the other title that I might even go see is James Cameron and Billie Eilish's concert.
That convinced me.
On visuals alone, I don't even like her
Tickets already.
music.
Eric and I are going. We got tickets.
The 3D
Yeah.
technology, guys, is incredible
He's
here.
like inventing new 3D cameras,
Yeah.
inventing like a little camera on a gimbal that's like half the size of a cigarette box, so that you can like see from the perspective of it was
Never
it was good.
before seen 3D technology used to work this film. This is a native 3D photography benchmark. That's how we're advertising it. Now, it's among us, among everyone else, it's Billie Eilish concert movie. But among the geeks, watch it for the 3D.
I
Looks great.
One or two of the songs. Those,
Yeah.
Gorgeous. And it's funny because I interviewed those two together too. And I just loved seeing how James was not only just respectful of Billie Eilish, but truly impressed and in awe of her. And it turns out that there were things that he pitched to Billie, and she said, no, I don't want them in the show. And I was like, you say no to James Cameron? And she's like, yeah. And then so James had to try to convince her to do some of this technological advanced stuff. And then eventually she was like, okay, cool, we can do this in it. So I can't wait to see what that collaboration looks like on stage.
And by the way, on stage, it looked very
Did it look cool?
super respectful on both sides. Also,
Yeah.
it was like
they respected each other as like professionals.
yeah.
Best couple superlative?
Yeah, let's do that. That's superlative. They win.
That's a good one.
I think we were all convinced and surprised that we were so convinced by that footage. I wasn't surprised because I was already in the bag for Street Fighter.
If you was bad, when I was bad during the Avengers, you didn't see me during Street Fighter trying to start pro wrestling channels.
Because, by the way, to our listeners, Diogo, for as wonderful as he is, has a horrible fault that his wife can attest to. He's a massive wrestling fan, to the point that people don't want to be around him when it's on TV. And Street Fighter just happens
comes
to
my
have.
house for WrestleMania.
Well,
Explain that now.
WrestleMania's in a couple days here in
Are
Vegas.
you staying for it here?
I'm not. I am hosting my party at home, and my people need me. I need to bring more wrestling.
There was like a lot of wrestlers coming out. I was like, I don't know who these people are, but I know Diogo.
Well, half the ensemble cast of Street Fighter are people that Diogo knows by first name, and that are in town to wrestle this weekend.
The teleprompter tech issues really.
That
happened
was the
there?
big.
Brutal.
Well, the teleprompter
Something
died
was
on them.
weird.
Yeah.
Yeah. They wheeled out one of those like TV carts, like when you were in high school. They had the
The bit didn't work, but the footage worked. The footage really lived up to the whole 1993 nostalgia of it all. 1993 being the year where Street Fighter 2, I believe, did its debut. Street Fighter 2 played a massive role in my childhood. I mean, I played that thing to death. I think we were all happy with the Street Fighter footage that we saw. Then we saw a football guy that none of these foreigners recognize here. NFL guys here? Not a single one.
I'm not even sure the U.S. guys
Yeah, because some guy named Phil Sims showed up.
That guy was funny.
Yeah, I mean, he seemed like a nice guy. Never heard of him in my life.
That was funny because he clearly was used to bigger receptions.
Yeah, wrong room, bro. Like, no one knew who this poor man was.
Yeah.
No clue. Yeah, he called us out for it. I felt a little bad for it because he was introducing a movie named Mr. Irrelevant.
That's great.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, boy. Anyway, football drama in December. That'll do perfectly fine at the box office. Not worried about that.
It looks like a very underdog,
You were in it?
heartwarming
Yeah.
Superman.
It's
Yeah,
gonna get its audience.
Teary drama. Yeah, there's an audience there. That'll do fine. So now with that being said, we do have to close up this part of the conversation with a good amount of footage of Children of Blood and Bone, which is a literary adaptation from Paramount. So this is going to be a title that I think is going to get a lot of attention in the coming years. Biggest potential. We saw just a little bit, but what did you feel about this?
It's a 4-book series, I think, so there's definitely potential for more movies down the line. I mean, we know right when the movie was announced that it's going to be an IMAX film, so clearly they're going big scale with it. The presentation, it started out with the drummers, and then they had, images of the cast, and then a bunch of the cast would come out and say their little sentence of, here's why I wanted to do this movie. It felt like a Bravo's Real Housewives opening.
Because they each had their one line.
They each had their one line, and then they went back and they stood in line.
Yeah.
But
It was nice.
I
It was
love
nice.
this. I cried at like 3 of these things that you.
Yeah, you did get teary-eyed.
I'm
Yeah.
like super pumped for Super
I got so hyped. I was like, they're doing it. They're fixing movies. Everything they do.
in which Everyone brings their promises to life from and everyone's happy, and I get cast as Lion-O in a Thundercats movie. Everything's fine.
Manifest it.
It's a very billionaire-driven episode so far, starting with Amazon MGM and now with Paramount Skydance.
But it looked like, I don't know, a fantasy YA dystopia about magic and a chosen
It's too early, Rebecca. It's too early. They don't need to convince you yet.
All right.
This is going to be,
So cool.
you're going to find out more about this in the coming months. And it's too early to launch a marketing campaign. They just needed to give you a taste of something that had potential. So that, I don't want to be too harsh on it.
It was more a vibes presentation.
Yeah, it's a vibes thing.
Honestly, it was opening up day 4 of CinemaCon. I was just grumpy.
Yeah, I think we all were exhausted. Well, after Minions, I just became exhausted at everything. And that leads us into the Disney presentation, because why not? This is an interesting presentation. So as folks who listen to our podcast know, Disney doesn't traditionally come with a lot of new reveals to CinemaCon. They
always close it out.
Those who close it out, well, you need people to stay. That's why they close it out. So Disney traditionally will save title announcements for D23, for Star Wars Day, for
their own.
Yeah, Comic-Con. They have a lot of other things. What they do at this show, which I think is a smart thing, they'll show you a lot of footage. They'll show you a lot more footage of what's coming up than anyone else will. And that's exactly what happened this year with the Disney presentation. They open with Andrew Cripps having a really good point on Disney's theatrical exclusivity windows. They are the industry leader with window length, with a 57-day average. And this is something that was a theme at this year's CinemaCon, by the way. We're no longer at the point of having to convince people about the value of a window. You go to a studio presentation and they're all saying how happy they are that they have a window.
It's, I think, the silver lining of the awful few years that we had.
Yeah.
2020, 2021, 22. Like it's
the silver lining is
we solved Windows.
We solved it. I mean, there were people that swore you would never get back to 45 days. We came back willingly. It took a little bit of work, but we did it.
Biggest trend for me this year. It's like you feel that there's almost a bidding war on who's offering the biggest window.
Real competition almost.
Yeah.
Exhibitors on.
And that was a real underlining vibe throughout the week. Huh?
I agree with that. I would say that's the biggest trend, previewing again our trends of the show. Last year's big topic at this event was the whole industry calling for a 45-day minimum window. The big trend this year was that message was coming from the studios, not the exhibitors. And that's a fantastic change here that we have moving forward. So I did want to give a shout out to Disney for that. I do appreciate that. And now let's launch into some of the footage that we saw. We started with The Devil Wears Prada 2, and I have to give you guys an update.
Can I just do one little shout out? I was
absolutely
super excited to see Matt coming on stage as well.
Yeah.
That's like the younger generation stepping up.
Next to Andrew Cripps, industry veteran, representing two different generations here in theatrical distribution.
The Devil Wears Prada 2.
Birkin that was so cute.
Yeah. No, it was a nice little moment. Thank you for that shout out, because it was a nice thing to see that veteran distribution executive like Andrew that's worked at a lot of great companies coming in with a new face in this industry, not in this industry, but in this role, the role that's senior.
Not new face in the industry,
right.
But
He's
new
been
face
around.
on stage.
On stage and in leadership positions, because we need that. Yeah. I think that was a nice moment and the right message to send. And they introduced footage from The Devil Wears Prada 2. The pre-sales on this are through the roof.
Pretty nuts.
I mean, we might be looking at $100 million opening weekend.
Really?
Oh wow! I didn't realize.
I mean,
it's wild.
I think it's going to be a big theatrical event. I had David Seiden on in my panel here on Monday morning. He's the co-head of exhibitor relations at Disney. And he was just already previewing all the work he's doing alongside Susie Kotlier in his division in getting theater activations for this movie. This movie is going to be a cultural event. Wait for it in your theaters in May. Massive title. And now let's go to the Star Wars movie that's coming out in Memorial Day weekend, The Mandalorian and Grogu. I'm not a fan. I don't know anything about this. My opinion is irrelevant here. Rebecca, you are a former fan.
I am a lapsed Star Wars fan, and I'm cautiously optimistic. I feel We got the first 10 minutes.
It was a lot of minutes.
Yeah,
It was a lot of minutes.
I think it was
Closer
10
to 15,
minutes.
15, I think, yeah.
That's the inciting incident there.
I have not been into the TV Star Wars and we're a TV show now era. When the hell did Martin Scorsese join the cast of Mandalorian?
Yeah, no, I did not
Who
see
is
that
he?
coming. I actually turned to Diogo
Shark
and he
Tales,
nodded.
Martin Scorsese. All right.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Surely
Great for
you
him.
shouldn't be getting more Babu Frick. That's the only part I liked about Return to Skywalker is Babu Frick.
All right, from the fan perspective, Albert, Diogo, help us out. What exactly did we see? I was lost.
Diogo, I'm really gonna have to pass the gauntlet.
Oh man, Albert's with us.
Because like, here's the thing: I was there, but I don't know how fully I was there because I zoned out. I felt
It
like
is
it was
Thursday.
Yes,
It's
it was
Thursday.
and it was enough for me to see. Like my main feedback was like, "Oh, Grogu was so cute when he was like swimming and it looked like a flooded thing."
Yeah.
Because out of the footage that we saw, first off, I didn't realize we were going to watch up to the credits and then even beyond the opening credits. But a lot of what we saw, we have seen in the trailers leading up to it.
Right.
So we've seen like some of these battles. We've seen Grogu, use the Force in order to move the food.
Kills him.
Yeah, and all that stuff is adorable and sweet, but I've just seen the trailer so much that it didn't feel super duper new for me to see.
I'll be upfront and I'll get you off the hook.
I wish the tone were pulpier. If you're going to name your movie Star Wars, The Mandalorian, and Grogu, you should lean into the pulp a little more. But it was okay. You have the Mandalorian showing up, infiltrating a collection of Empire people, and he goes in and he gets one and he kills them, and there's a little AT-AT battle.
Just give me the movie at this point.
I'll be upfront. I didn't mention this. I'll get you off the hook, Albert. I fell asleep.
No,
it's Thursday. I closed my eyes. I'm only saying this because I'm on beer 4. Beer 4 is getting the confessions out.
Daniel, are you excited to see it now?
I wouldn't know. I wouldn't know. No, I am so tired. And I'm about to open beer 5. All right. Oh, yeah.
Doomsday is going to be wild by the time we get
there.
It
is beer 5 in time for Toy Story 5. Toy Story, a classic series that should have ended in the 3rd installment.
I don't agree.
Forky fans here. You guys are Forky fans? Okay.
Justice for Forky.
This footage felt like in the tradition of Toy Story. It was good, it's cute, it's fun, I liked it. It was depressing as hell.
Yeah.
All about how kids just spend all their time looking at screens and don't play with one another. It was like
there's probably going to be something behind
that. It's going to be hopeful eventually, but it was too heavy.
I pitched David at my panel. We should do like tablet recycling bins and theater activations for Toy Story 5.
Mm-hmm. That's actually great.
I'll email you guys in a little bit.
Yeah, this movie might low-key bully kids into getting off of screens, like Inception.
I have a great affinity for these movies. I think this one's going to perform really well, guys. I was really impressed by what I saw.
Yep.
I woke up for this one.
Thank goodness.
What I was also awake for was the live-action Moana movie. We got a little bit of footage here, and The Rock did not show up with a wig.
I lost that bet.
I know. We made a bet that he would show
No,
up.
but he showed up with a picture of his grandfather.
He was wearing an ascot.
Who had an amazing haircut, which explains everything.
Exactly. So for everyone listening, The Rock got a lot of criticism online when footage first came out of him wearing a ridiculous-looking wig, originally what we thought, in the trailer. But no, man, it's not out of nowhere. He showed us a picture on stage at CinemaCon of his grandfather with that hair.
Zooming into The Rock's phone, like the picture.
Yeah, but here's the thing. The grandpa can pull it off. I'm not sure Dwayne can.
Look,
Dwayne falls short.
I really enjoyed the first Moana. This isn't for me. This isn't, it's fine. It's fine.
But did the music do anything for you when you saw the live action trailer? It took you back?
It made me want to watch the original Moana, but it didn't make me want to watch this one. But that's, again,
I listen to that song every 30 seconds back at home.
But I do have to say that once you go back into the images and you see The Rock with his wig, it's like...
Yeah, it makes sense. And it was very touching.
It's surprising to see him, like, even... And you understand the story with the grandfather and all that.
The Rock is like Bruce Willis with hair. It's just...
And you wouldn't expect this from, like, a major IP title, like live-action title. This is the 3rd time we see Moana within, 10 years? Mm-hmm. But The Rock came out there and told us about his personal connection to the material. And he wasn't reading from the teleprompter. He was speaking honestly.
His family was there in the audience, and he was like pointing. Or no,
no, that was his co-star.
That was a woman. Yeah, but
Catherine.
she was still mentioning like, "Oh, it's my daughter's birthday tomorrow."
Yeah, it felt like a family project to him, and I really got to feel a genuine passion from the people involved in this film for this film. As opposed to train wrecks like Snow White that came out last year, this one feels like the people involved in this movie want to be in this movie and are excited for it.
And his excitement also translated into a message. He said something about how like men protect women, and he turned that into a messaging point that I did not expect to hear from Maui and from Moana, but I'm like, okay, you know what? I guess that I see how it goes
the
in
Rock
there.
versus toxic masculinity.
Yeah, we need that.
About, like the actress playing Moana, how she'd literally done her first interview backstage.
Yeah,
just
that was very
then.
touching.
We
were sold. It was nice.
Amazon won the week in terms of showmanship, but individual person, The Rock.
He's a movie star.
He's charismatic.
He's a movie star, honestly, and we need more of that. We need more of that work. There are folks that go up on that stage at CinemaCon that you can tell don't want to be there. The Rock is not one of those people. The Rock wants to be there. Jack Black is not one of those people.
Jack Black was great.
Tom Cruise is not one of those people.
Every other day.
There are certain actors when they go on there.
Yeah, they're happy to be. You feel that they're happy to be there,
and we can tell.
Or they're great actors, but
or they're great actors. So that was really good footage that we saw. Sorry to our listeners and our sponsors. I apologize. It's been a long week. These Miller Lights aren't helping. So let's keep on going here. While the three people listening are still with us, we had Whale Fall.
Whale Fall.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
This was the most terrifying footage I saw all week.
Because Whale Fall, a movie about a guy who gets swallowed by a whale. You think? I mean, you. I think in your preview episode, you said it sounds like Moonfall. Like it does. It does sound like it's going to be one of those like Roland Emmerich goose fests.
Yeah.
And it does not look like that, but it was terrifying. I'm never going near the ocean.
My only reference for whales swallowing folks is like Jonah from the Bible.
Geppetto.
And also Pinocchio.
Yeah.
This was not that at all.
No.
I always imagined that if you get swallowed by a whale, it's like a smooth ride down.
You can light a candle in there. Yes. I was told you could light a candle in there.
We've all seen Avatar: The Way of Water. Yes.
Like his leg was like a squid or kelp was tangled, and he was like
he's caught by the squid.
The tooth drag his way out as he's being swallowed.
So I don't scuba dive. Stan, Diogo, both of you guys scuba dive. How did you react to this?
This is worse than Jaws for me.
Yeah, it's terrifying.
As someone who has had a near-death experience scuba diving, I'm not sleeping at night. I've been thinking about this since I've seen it.
It's nightmare fuel.
A new fear unlocked.
I can't do it.
And I can't wait to see this. I mean, it's terrifying. It was the scariest clip we saw all week. From the Searchlight division, we got to see a little bit of footage from Wild Horse 9. I saw this at an early screening up in New York. Great film.
Yeah.
It's going to hit the...
It looked fun. I was just like John Malkovich and Sam Rockwell. I think it was football.
It's a Martin McDonagh movie. I would say it's a spiritual successor to In Bruges.
Okay, because that's
his
best movie.
It is, and this I think it's better.
Okay.
Is this an awards contender?
Yes.
Okay.
Immediately. Yeah. This is a Malkovich Best Actor nomination.
Okay.
Yeah. Today.
Great.
It doesn't matter what happens in Cannes. Today, that's what it is. It's a very strong film. I'm excited for people to catch that come November. And then we've got in November as well, I think the big question mark, and it's too early, but Hext has a lot of work to do to make sure we have a good Thanksgiving weekend.
There's a lot riding on it.
Yeah, and we just saw too little footage to really give any real judgment on it.
Yeah, it's hard to give an opinion.
It's too early. They have to ramp it up, but Disney has a lot on its shoulders to make sure we have a good holiday season.
I think that they gave us a hint, though, in terms of how they're going to be marketing it. They really were leaning hard on the magic and on the lineage of magic that we've associated with Disney. Yeah. From Fantasia to Beauty and the Beast. I got a lot of Beauty and the Beast vibes from this one.
They leaned hard on the Disney legacy element for Wish.
Yeah.
And that didn't work.
That didn't work.
Yeah.
And that is a good comp, though, Rebecca, because I am concerned. Last time, if I'm not mistaken, the Disney went out on Thanksgiving with an animation original. It was Wish. And you think Disney talking animals, they got it. They didn't. And this time it's Disney and Magic. They got it, and they might not.
Or both kind of Disney hyping itself up. Very, we're Disney.
I have doubts from day one. Yeah. It's a little unfair because it's a Thanksgiving release. We don't know enough about it. But we need to be convinced coming out of this show.
And I'm excited already that it's seeing an original coming.
Yeah, I mean, that in its own, I think, is worth something.
It's Haley Steinfeld.
Yeah.
Who's voicing the mom?
And Rashida Jones.
Yeah, I just announced that casting too. And I come to this place for Magic.
Yep.
So,
yes.
So I'm excited about it.
Yes.
And the presentation closed up with footage from Ice Age Boiling Point, the former 20th Century Fox franchise that ran out of steam here domestically, but did...
Good volcano pun.
Oh, man.
Boiling Point, is that a pun?
It's in there.
There. We're keeping it in the edit. That's pathetic at this point.
There's lava.
Yeah, there is.
From the trailer that we saw, is it safe to say that we know that Pitbull is scoring the entire movie?
Oh, man. Okay, but here's the flip side on it. The whole success story about the Ice Age franchise stopped being domestic after the second one, I think. This is an international series. Mm-hmm. And it's coming, I think, in February of next year, if I'm not mistaken, but it is a February release. It makes sense in that period, and it makes sense as a global play. The domestic returns here won't be too attractive, I don't think.
The kids aren't clamoring for more Ray Romano and Dennis Leary voice work?
Yeah, it's not there. It's not there. But here's the thing about the footage we saw.
That Disney, with like Baby Yoda worked, we're going to bring in a baby Scrat.
Yeah, there's a lot of...
Baby Yoda, Baby Angry Bird, everything baby.
There's a lot of set pieces in this series that are dialogue-free. There are. Mm-hmm. And there always have been. This is an international play. Mm-hmm. And it'll be fine. Again, domestically, it's not going to break the box office. It's there in a time period where, again, you can't take your kid to the playground. You're going to go there. But I was excited that at least for this film, they have new cast members coming in. We need to refresh in that Dennis Leary, Ray Romano combo. And that's the case here.
Yeah, it's great to see Queen Latifah, or I should say hear Queen Latifah in this film. She's getting an award tonight, actually, the Cultural Impact in Film. Sure, why not?
I've always dreamed of getting that award. Maybe one day.
One battle after another.
Yes. Yeah. She's still relevant.
Yes.
She's good. Yes. I love her. She's great. All in all, I think a solid presentation from Disney. Better than I expected. I will say that.
Ended on a strong note.
And we saw a lot of footage. I think they've got a strong slate. But before we get to the Avengers Doomsday part of the conversation, they did announce a new technical initiative that they're going to be pushing around the release of Avengers Doomsday, something called Infinity Vision, which is basically a catch-all term for premium large format. I wish I could say it's just a catch term. It's a certification. Disney's going to be looking at PLF auditoriums and deeming which pass a benchmark of quality and giving them the Infinity Vision line. I don't know how this gets executed, but I'm intrigued.
I'm curious as to what the standards are.
Yeah, there's a lot of questions here. We'll be reporting it, obviously, on boxofficepro.com in the coming weeks, but I like the fact that there is a white label PLF marketing term.
Yeah.
And we need that. Now, what the benchmarks are, who gets in, we'll go over that.
All the little inside baseball stuff. But yeah, we've been talking about the need to market the movie-going experience and
beyond IMAX. And I'm sorry to my friends at IMAX. They do a great job. But IMAX isn't the only game in town. We need something that encompasses the entire diversity of premium formats in this industry. And I really like, at surface level so far, the idea behind this initiative. In practice, a lot of questions we have, and obviously in our coverage, we're going to be going into that.
No, I love the initiative because you need to create a bit of define what PLFs are. But after what I didn't completely understand yet, is it a pure Disney initiative, or
that's the question, right? If it's a Disney only thing, okay, but if it can be an industry wide,
is it something that we like?
I think it would be helpful if we have a catch-all term for PLF that everyone uses. And a benchmark and a certification. That's a very political question. Trust me, as a guy that just came up with a list of movie theaters. There's a lot of, red tape there.
My editor's brain likes the idea because it rankles the PLS as a premium large format, and there's stuff in there that is not large format.
Exactly.
You got motion seating. I'm seeing Whale Fall in 40X. Sell me that ticket now.
Yeah, and that's not large.
Do you think it's going to suck you up in the seat? Or?
Yeah, there's going to be... The water effects are good. No, yeah, I think that's a really good initiative that Disney's doing, but in practice, there's some things they have to figure out. We'll be covering that in...
They commit to it.
I know.
No, but marketing-wise, you can't put all those logos. Like, I mean, they're all fantastic experiences, but you're not going to put XD, IMAX, Dolby as instead of...
And the in-house PLFs, and you can't prioritize one format over another. I like this.
And then you have things like AMC Prime, which is kind of like in between. There's just
there's a lot of distinctions.
CX,
if we can get something for the entire industry, it'd be better. But if there's a studio that does it on its own, it's Disney. Yeah. Disney needs to lead that charge. And lead that charge with a title like Avengers Doomsday. That we got a trailer reveal here of the Doom trailer. I had no clue what was going on.
No.
Diogo was shouting the entire time.
I wasn't alone. Many people were shouting.
The whole balcony was lit up.
This was the first time I'd seen where like they replayed the trailer. They played it twice because everyone was like,
demanded it.
They demanded. This for me is kind of Mandalorian and Grogu-esque in the sense that I was not super excited for Doomsday. I didn't like Endgame, and the MCU kind of ran its course for me a bit, but the trailer did, for all that it was like, cobbled together shots of a whole bunch of famous actors playing superheroes with a really good score. The score sounds right. It was exciting. It was good.
It's a Marvel movie for people that stopped watching Marvel movies 3 years ago.
Yeah, and I feel like
they're executing that perfectly. They know that they're doing it well.
If anybody is going to get this crowd amped up, the final presentation, CinemaCon Thursday, it's Robert Downey Jr. And even Robert Downey Jr. showed up, had to tell people to like be a little more enthusiastic.
Yeah, to get up. I mean, then you have to bring Chris Evans up.
I mean, to be honest, the trailer, that's what makes the magic of the Coliseum. Like, I'm not at all, this is not at all my kind of movie. Mm-hmm. But just hearing the crowd going crazy, you got something there. It's like
Channing Tatum was there. In the trailer.
Well, let's go. Yeah, he wasn't in the presentation itself, but let's go into the details of the trailer as much as we can. Mm-hmm. Diogo, guide us through whatever happened in those 3 minutes.
To be totally fair, I also have no idea what's going on.
And you watched all of these things and the TV shows.
Yeah, and I've watched all of like the 4 teasers leading up to this. That we see an expanded view of all of those kind of coming together, and that's kind of all we know. Yeah. Everyone's coming together, and Doom is bad, and that's all I need to know. Because Gambit's blowing stuff up.
Cyclops.
So, to our listeners, in contextualizing this, James Marsden playing Cyclops shows up in the trailer. Channing Tatum playing Gambit shows up in the trailer. Bunch of heroes I can't recognize show up in the trailer. It's a big movie.
There was a lot of someone who liked Black Panther too.
Mm-hmm. Shuri's in there.
Good.
Yeah, I mean, and I think it's the fun of us getting a chance to see our toys play together again, right?
Yeah. It's a comic book movie. It is the epitome of a comic book movie.
When you see Mystique turn into Yelena, who we just saw in Thunderbolts, like that's amazing. That's bridging decades of legacy. Your eyes are rolling, Daniel. We lost you.
You lost me because I'm 5 beers in on CinemaCon Thursday and the sun just set. I'm exhausted. I'm sitting here talking Avengers movies with you guys. It's fine. It's going to make money.
It was a good way to wrap
up. No, it did create a huge vibe in the room.
And we needed that. Honestly, the big risk is that this doesn't perform at the Avengers Endgame or Deadpool Wolverine level. And honestly, a lot of the new Marvel movies haven't. But with the line that I said earlier, this isn't that movie. This is a movie for people that stopped watching Marvel movies 3 years ago.
They need to rekindle something, and it feels like they're
there.
They're there.
With this trailer, they're there. And it ended in a high point. We didn't get a moment at CinemaCon where the reaction to a trailer was so positive that they played it again.
I think the biggest flex, though, was that they ended with the countdown clock. This is Disney saying, yeah, we know that Dune 3 is not moving off of their date, but you know what? We're not moving either.
Totally.
And I thought that during this presentation, we might learn that
that
Doomsday would move up a little bit.
I was expecting it to be rescheduled.
Right. No, they left it there. So
we'll see how that turns out. I think there's enough space for both of those movies.
December is going to be huge.
Is there enough PLF?
Yeah, but you know what? We're going back to the point of there are so many. That's the point here. They don't have IMAX. That's why Infinity Vision is here. That's the play. The play is they lost IMAX 2 weeks ago with the official announcement that Dune is moving up in the priority lane. Yeah. And guess what? They don't have IMAX in Thanksgiving either. So it's not a coincidence here, guys, that Disney is all of a sudden coming out with something called Infinity Vision. That came out of a magic hat, which comes after Narnia gets IMAX in Thanksgiving. Dune Part 3 gets the mid-December IMAX screens now. And Disney said, well, you know what? Let's promote it with something called Infinity Vision. That's the steps that get to us here. And I don't think it's a bad idea.
The Endgame re-release is going to be Infinity Vision. Whatever Infinity Vision is, the Endgame re-release in September.
And that's fine. They have to promote that. It works. I think there's enough diversity here in PLF that we don't have to be obsessed about what gets the IMAX screen and what doesn't. I'm glad for them. They do a great job over there. They're not the only show in town. And Disney, the biggest studio in the world, is reiterating that. We love them. We're going to keep on releasing movies there.
We need them to carry us following January.
There's going to be so many movies released in this holiday corridor that will continue grossing into January 27. And the way I want to cap off the analysis segment here before we finish the superlatives is that there's going to be a couple of empty spots in the calendar. Late August, after Spider-Man slows down, maybe up until November-ish is going to be a little bit slow, but then get ready for 2027. We're going to have a great end of the year. We're going to great carry-over grosses into January.
Yeah, January is going to be big.
27 is going to be huge.
Is October going to be as well, no.
Can it be as bad?
No, I mean, October is going to be October. And that's why our forecast right now is conservative. Because we have to say the good with the bad as well. There's parts of that slate once we get into September, October that I'm not convinced by. And if we want to get to that $9.9 billion number that a lot of people are saying, I think September and October are going to have to step up there.
Something's going to have to hit.
Yeah, and that's the big question mark. So I'm comfortable. And by the way, I say that knowing full well that Memorial Day is going to be a letdown because we're coming off the best Memorial Day weekend of all time. Thanksgiving, get ready. It's going to be a letdown because we're coming off the two best Thanksgivings of all time.
And then that's just, it's an unfair expectation.
Right. It's just, you can't expect it.
If
But just wait a couple weeks after that, mid-December, going into 2027, I really think there's going to be a lot of excitement there. And let's go into the senior superlatives here that we have for CinemaCon, a tradition that we've had for years, going over our personal favorites of the event. Let's start with the biggest trend. I think the biggest trend here is windows aren't an issue anymore.
Windows victory.
Yeah.
For me, that's the biggest.
Stan, you agree as well?
Yeah. I want to go, just let them go in a bid.
Who goes
Let's go higher.
Yeah. Diogo, on your end, what was the biggest trend at this event?
Oh, at every panel, even more than AI, it was Windows. I don't know.
That was interesting, right? I mean,
I was surprised because this is my first CinemaCon too, so I was kind of expecting everyone to talk more about AI as kind of.
Well, you're about to listen to that on this episode.
Yeah, it was more in the educational sense.
Yeah, we've got the panel coming up.
Yeah, which was great. I love those panels and learning about that. Yeah, but overwhelmingly around everywhere, it all ended up Windows.
And not you need to enforce them. It's we're increasing them.
We did it. We figured it out, y'all.
Well, we actually finally understood that it was meaningful.
Albert, Rebecca.
They make a lot of money the whole time. Windows and teleprompter failures.
Yeah, the teleprompter was a big slip up this year.
I'll say family. I found that people kept referencing family, whether it was a horror film, an adventure film, whether it was talking about the cinematic experience.
Mommy, the little Angry Birds, little... Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So parenting, single
My other mommy.
Other mommy, yes.
Yeah. And all without Vin Diesel.
Right.
Yeah.
We didn't even
have that. Still be in the Coliseum if Vin Diesel.
The biggest moment at the convention this year, I think we needed David Ellison to be here. He made a time to be here. He said the right things. Where things go from here, I don't know. But I think he did what he needed to do. Anybody else come up with a bigger moment?
I thought Spielberg was a big moment.
That was huge.
I was surprised that it was his first time at CinemaCon.
I was too. You'd think,
but I thought that was that was very well set up. It was emotional. It was exciting.
Absolutely.
Yep. Yeah, with the sit down interview with Coleman and everything. It didn't just feel like promotion for a film. It felt almost like a career retrospective.
Yeah, absolutely.
It felt like events. I mean, that was another big trend, I think, the leaning into, we have to make these movie screenings events because that's what Gen Z demands. That's what the evolving expectations of our industry. That was brought up a lot more than in years past, and I think rightfully so.
Now let's move on to the David Passman Fashion Icon Award.
Oh,
I'm giving it to Boots Riley.
Boots Riley.
That hat.
So John Baptiste had a bolo tie, and I got to give it to a bolo tie.
Zendaya was a contender.
Yeah.
But Anges also looked good.
Boots Riley.
But Boots Riley.
I mean, she can't.
I asked Boots about his hat, and I was like, well, when you go to the movie theater, do you have like a more friendly version so that the folks sitting behind you? He's like, actually, yeah, like there's one that's see-through that you can something.
No, he didn't. I love it. He commits to the bit. I love that guy. Wonderful.
I would say Snoop when he took off his glasses.
Snoop came very well dressed.
I liked really also Chanel Superman sweater.
You know what? I think that might be because I talked to WB afterwards, and they said that I don't think that's an actually licensed piece from Chanel.
Coke did it, and they're like, we're not okay, fine.
Yeah, and ASAP Rocky wore it in a photo with Rihanna recently. Yeah, so that's gonna go off the shelf.
That's a hot item.
Yeah. And Robert Downey Jr. in his green leather suit in Vegas.
Sure.
Sure.
A lot of dudes dressed like that roaming around the casino floor.
It's a uniform.
Yeah, it really is. Let's move on now to the Rebecca Pauley Cheese Plate Concession Champion Award at CinemaCon 2026. Rebecca's getting her notes of the best concessions at the trade show floor. I'll start with mine. At the Cisco booth, the barbecue brisket mac and cheese.
Ooh. Really?
Barbecue brisket mac and cheese at a movie theater, and you don't need a full kitchen for it. That was a highlight for me.
The Cisco, it's not my favorite, but it's up there. The queso, the chips and queso they had was really good.
I also like the Coca-Cola freestyle machines. There's a new version of them, and the new version from Diogo and I tried it out. Solid improvements there. Really big fan of that. And finally, a big shout out to the PepsiCo Tostito Nacho Station. Where it's a station of like different cheeses and chili that you can put on your Tostitos nachos. Yeah, think of it as like self-serve nachos with fixins.
I love this.
It's a nacho bar for movie theaters.
Where? Well, who's doing these?
PepsiCo. It was great.
Okay.
I was a big fan.
Yeah.
Big fan.
They also had raspberry rose poppies to go with them.
Yeah, that was good.
I'm jealous, guys, about your job. I have not been able to.
You were selling websites for 4 days.
Hot dogs we sampled.
Meanwhile, you're paying.
Couldn't work.
Wow.
This guy's selling websites, paying us to watch movie trailers and eat concessions. Yeah.
Did anyone else sample at the Coca-Cola booth? They had a dill pickle lemonade.
Oh,
yes.
That was going to be my pick.
Yes.
It was
okay.
so good.
So that is Diogo Hausen's pick for the dill pickle lemonade.
I didn't reveal too much about it.
I was so excited. She was like, do you want to sample this weird thing? I was like, absolutely.
And I was like, it tastes like dill pickles and lemonade.
Yeah.
Oh,
that was a really good lemonade, by the way.
I didn't like it, but if you, it's for
Acquired taste.
It's for hardcore dill
a certain
pickle.
palate.
Yeah, it's for certain.
Diogo, do you add anything else beyond the dill pickle lemonade?
The mac and brisket works also just the brisket.
The brisket was pretty good.
I was eating all the dairy-free things because I have a dairy allergy, so that was my dairy-free endorsement right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was solid. Albert, did you get to check out the trade show?
No, like I had a brief walkthrough. We were looking at CCVs, so looking at the different popcorn buckets. But I did try, Coca-Cola had some Pringles that were Hot Ones flavored.
Oh, that's
and those
cool.
were delicious.
Well, let's-
pickle flavored Pringles were good.
Let's talk about popcorn buckets because we saw a lot of them. What did you guys like the best? Albert, what stood out?
The Paramount presentation teased that there's going to be a Jackass popcorn bucket.
Oh,
We
that's
we didn't see that yet.
Yeah.
I did like the Devil Wears Prada
It's gonna be a
too.
cock protector.
I don't want to start.
Oh gosh! So, Masters of the Universe. Did you see the sword?
Yeah.
That like with the,
Yes.
you flip it and you can like drink out the top of it. I feel like that is going to cause so much hysteria online.
Not
my God.
only did we see it,
Yeah.
Diogo's wife texted us, said,
Yes.
please don't come home with that.
Don't let him.
Do not come back with this thing.
And I will not go home with it. I will buy it at the AMC
Yeah.
when it is there.
As
So
a
I don't
loyal
have to carry it on the
subs-member.
plane.
That's right.
Good.
And then you can just
Good,
like
good.
keep a locker there. And then
Yeah,
you
there's
just
a lot of with foam swords.
Yeah. Rebecca, on your end, you finish this off. What was the best concession at the trade
I
show?
had two things. One was the Cafe Tango caramel macchiato frozen beverage situation.
Ooh.
It hit the spot. It was the first thing I had. It was what I needed. It powered me through the rest of my time just running around like a little raccoon trash panda. And I don't. Did any of you see the vendor? The name of it? It was ice cream in a little pouch.
Yes,
like,
I actually-
like the applesauces or the Go-Gurts.
Oh,
but
wow,
it's in
that's a
pouch.
cool idea.
But soft serve.
Go-Gurt but sauce. It was called CVT.
I saw that. Not only did I see it, I got one for you. Because obviously Diogo can't have dairy. So I got one for you to try, but you already tried it and it was all the way at the top of your list.
I liked it. I like any new way for me to eat ice cream.
Yeah.
So it comes out of the freezer? Like,
Yeah, and they also had like a mango like a Dole Whip situation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That I spilled it on my shirt immediately.
Ended up all over
I was
Diogo's
thinking for
shirt.
icing.
Yeah.
I was like, maybe I can play this off.
I wonder if this is. I feel like there's a food truck that drives around LA that might do this. I wonder if this is that same vendor.
That's
CVT.
interesting.
Okay, I gotta look
Well,
that up.
it was highly rated. I actually heard that shout out for that ice cream brand quite a bit at the trade
Like,
show.
it just makes like I love ice cream,
So
but
smart.
it can be so messy. It can be too messy for a movie theater.
Now let's go to what we saw at the Coliseum this year. Best presentation, Amazon MGM
Hands
by
down.
far.
I missed it.
You missed it. What did you like outside of Amazon MGM?
I actually liked Universal.
Yeah, that's good. I mean, we were a little bit critical on
I
it,
know
but
that's
it
what I
did
was
work.
hearing, but I'd like
It did
I'd
work
like
for you.
Universal,
I mean,
yeah.
it did have Nolan and Spielberg in there. I can
Mhm.
totally understand that. Best title. What was a title that just nailed it this year? For me, Spaceball's the new one.
For me, I know it's a working title, and they're going to change it, but everybody wants to F me.
That was a great presentation. For me, that actually comes up in the Discovery title here. I didn't know that movie existed. Now that I know it exists, I can't wait to see it. Albert, on your end, what was the best title you saw?
Yeah, I love boosters, but this is because I don't think that I really knew what a booster was before digging into it. In terms of somebody taking these clothes.
It's shoplifting, not
I
vaccines.
knew there was
Right, and I thought it was a vaccine. thing
Yeah,
at
me
first.
too.
Yeah.
Me too.
I thought it was like a seat.
Like a
Yeah,
booster seat.
that's a good
Yeah.
call. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Rebecca?
Whalefall.
Whalefall.
Oh, that's a good
Yeah,
I
Whalefall.
mean, Spaceball's the new one, but Whalefall.
Terrifying. Stan, did you share your?
Yeah, I was saying my other mommy.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I liked it.
That looks really good. The Jessica Chastain doppelganger horror. I'm probably going to see that.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go to the Most Improved Player Award at CinemaCon 2026. The movie that you really weren't convinced by. You saw some footage. You're in. What do you think, Diogo?
For me, it was definitely The Beekeeper 2.
Yeah.
I didn't see Beekeeper 1, but I don't know, the footage from this, it felt very different from the first trailer. Maybe the director changed up in it. I'm very on board. I'll watch the first one now. Give me the beast. Not the beast!
Yeah.
The January Statham tradition is one of my favorite parts of the cinema exhibition industry over these last few years.
The Earth does not complete its revolution around the sun if there is not a January Statham movie. You cannot have a new year without it. Albert, on your end?
Masters of the Universe.
Yeah, that's mine.
Yeah.
I had big doubts on that. Yeah, no, I'm in.
I guess I get it now. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Stan, were you questionable on anything?
I would say Disclosure Day. I miss a Master of the Universe, but I'd say Disclosure Day.
Okay. I think a lot of us were very impressed by what we saw from that at this presentation this year. Sleeper hit potential. What's your dark horse candidate at the box office this year from what we saw? I'll go, not sleeper hit. I knew there was potential to Verity. And actually the Neon title, Place in Hell. Mm-hmm. Both those titles, especially after the performance of The Housemaid last year, have the same potential window, I think. A Place in Hell maybe a little bit more so because Verity comes from an established, proven author and literary adaptation. But both those titles, I would put that in the sleeper hit potential.
Yeah. I'm going to give you Clayface. Now, we didn't see a ton of it, but I was like, oh, we're really going into the body horror. And especially, we're coming off of The Substance. And, you know, we're used to now seeing weird configurations and seeing beautiful people get, like, non-beautiful but on camera. I think that Clayface might rock this, y'all.
All right.
Yeah, that one surprised me definitely.
And we need it. That's during the corridor where things are going to slow down.
Exactly.
So that's going to be ideal. I'm rooting for that to happen. Rebecca, what are you thinking is going to be a sleeper hit? I know, it's a tough question. Stan, you want to butt in while Rebecca's looking at what she's got there?
Sleeper hit. I was super impressed by Disclosure Day. After talking with other people, I felt a bit off balance.
So it goes from being a good hit to like a blockbuster in your book. So it's sleeper in that sense that it's going to overperform expectations.
Oh, overperform.
Yeah.
Sleeper hit. Sorry.
No, I think that's fine. Diogo, on your end, what do you think is going to be that sleeper hit that comes out of nowhere? And
I think people are going to watch Spider-Man, Doom 3, and
that's not
Avengers Doomsday. I know no one's saying it. No one's expecting it. It's going to be... People are going to watch those movies, mark my words.
That's your sleeper hits.
Hot take.
In my heart of hearts, I hope Spaceball's the new one, but Beekeeper 2.
That's the sleeper hit?
I think Beekeeper 2. I think that enough people have heard tell of the Beekeeper that when this new one comes along, I think it's
I mean, in January context, right? It's a new release, there's holdovers.
It's going to get us through some dark weeks.
I would hope that to happen. And now the title that you weren't planning on watching, you saw the trailer at CinemaCon, now you're buying a ticket. For me, Scary Movie. I saw the first one, I loved it, I hated all the rest, but this one got me. I'm buying that ticket.
For me, it's Practical Magic 2. But it's not even because of the trailer.
Man.
It's Sandra Bullock and Nicole Kidman. Like, their performance on stage live here is unforgettable for me.
Yeah.
I don't know what was going on there, but like
I don't think they knew what was going on either.
It was a magical moment to witness. So I'm gonna be there. And I actually have not watched the first Practical Magic.
No.
It's good.
It's good.
It's gonna be the date movie of like the year for me. We're gonna go, we're gonna cosplay, we're gonna take umbrellas, we're gonna jump off of houses. It's gonna be awesome.
But when they jump off the houses,
there are going to be a lot of margaritas on the...
And they kept saying the margarita thing.
Said they midnight margaritas. They drink margaritas at midnight.
I support that. So
Good alcohol sales. Stan, on your end?
I mean, if you hadn't said it, I would have said Scary Movie, but I'll say the dog movie.
Yeah, Heart of the Beast, Heart of the Lion, Dog Stars. You got to work on your titles, guys.
Heart of the Beast.
Lee Cronin's Sex Purge, we insist. That's gold waiting for you, but, these dog movies, you got to figure it out. Doomsday. You weren't going to watch it. Now you are going to watch it.
People are going to watch it. Sleeper hit right there.
Sleeper hit. There we go.
But like, honestly, I did not care about that movie.
But what clinched it for you?
The score.
The score, okay.
Like, it was a well put together trailer. So that and Masters of the Universe and honestly movies that need no help from
the general audience.
For me, it is Mr. Irrelevant.
Really? The NFL football guy that none of us could recognize.
I don't know. Something about it. I was like, oh man, Superman.
You cried there too?
No, he was actually...
That's what kicked it off.
He was actually crying.
I couldn't stop during the dog was sad about the plane crash. I couldn't stop when the African drums came out. It just kept going. It just kept going.
Oh my gosh.
Fireworks, waterworks, and extended exclusivity windows. Those are the main takeaways from CinemaCon 2026. Thank you to all of you listening to us, especially as I'm now 6 beers deep in this recording session.
Luma is making another bold impact in the cinema industry with its latest innovation, Magnify 8, a one-of-a-kind experience that offers exhibitors another highly attractive and cost-effective solution, besides their well-recognized and celebrated 4D emotion. Magnify 8, a truly distinctive format, features multiple vibration points within the seat, seamlessly combined to feel the power of the movies moving through the body. Each vibration effect is meticulously programmed and perfectly synchronized with the on-screen action. The system is highly versatile, compatible with any type of seat, regular or recliner, new or existing, enabling rapid, scalable rollout across global markets. A perfect value add for premium large screen seating as well as all market sizes and types of theaters.
For those of you in the room who might not know who you are, could you please introduce yourself in one sentence?
One sentence, okay.
Make it fun.
Brian Schultz started in this business 1993. I love theatrical exhibition, and we're Look Cinemas.
Hi, Maureen Soto. I'm the managing director at the box office company. I saw the Christophers yesterday, and it was fantastic.
Otto Turton, I'm the Chief Commercial Officer of View. We're a European operator. We operate in 8 countries. We have about 230 cinemas.
Thank you. So we are assembled here this morning to talk to you about the practical use of AI, and I'm insisting on practical. The idea is that we want you to leave the room today thinking that there is something that you can implement in your cinema tomorrow. Doesn't matter where you are, doesn't matter your size, there is something for everyone. To set the scene, I did a little fun exercise in my spare time. I basically asked ChatGPT, Gemini, and Claude exactly the same question at the same time. What is AI? And the 3 of them have come up with a slightly different answer. As you can see, ChatGPT is very succinct, straight to the point. Gemini was a bit more imaginative, Think of AI as applied statistics on steroids. I like that. And Claude wanted me to go further. It was just like, do you want me to look into the practical, the theory, or even the philosophical angle on AI? So rest assured, we're not going to go into philosophical use of AI today, even though as a French person, I would love that. But this is where we are. So we had a chat together, of course, before this panel. And the 3 of us agreed that basically AI is a tool and its value depends on how it's applied. That many users, and I'm sure many of you have experienced sometimes imperfect or even unpredictable answers from AI. Something feels a bit off, which really tells us that this is something that needs to be trained and improved. But there's also a massive potential to streamline operation. So think about repetitive tasks, think about data analytics, think about admin. So the plan today, as I said, is really to focus on real-life examples with my 3 panelists here. So Brian, I know you have a few slides for us because you have a very, very concrete use of AI within your cinema. And with your slide, I basically asked you to answer a few questions like, what was the problem you're trying to solve? How did AI help? And what did it deliver for you?
It started, I was with one of my daughters in the car, and we're driving and I'm interrupting, good family time, answering basic questions. And my daughter asked me, are you operating as the CEO? Are you operating as a general manager? Because honestly, you keep on answering these same questions time and time again, and it's disruptive. Why can't you create an operating system that gets that information to the team? And that was the start 3.5 years ago of our AI journey on how we could close some of these gaps in information and really help the team reach their potential, get the information that they need so they could really highlight themselves and really take care of these basic things, maybe like healthcare elections, how to find a doctor. We didn't realize how many hours we were doing on these basic tasks.
And I know that you have a few slides to share with us, so shall we maybe go through them?
Okay, let's do it. Okay, so I'm going to tell you in advance.
You look great, Brian.
Thank you. Thank you.
It's just like you.
This is the AI version of Brian Schultz. Just so you know, if you can't make the connection with it. I started working on the slides and what I wanted to do to bring value for the team, because I know we're all at different parts of our journey on AI, using it maybe as a search engine or using it in total. So I decided to do my whole presentation using an AI engine and limiting the amount of time that I did it. So all my slides were fully generated by AI using our ideas. Next slide. Okay. So through the history of cinema, movie theaters, there's been important changes. And now that I've been doing this for 33 plus years, there's the fast adopters, there's the naysayers, and there's groups of people that say, let's wait and see. So wherever you are on that trajectory, we're kind of at that point where we're getting to the wait and see, has to start to jump in, or else we're going to have some trouble. So next slide. Okay, 1980s. Some people hated the multiplex. Some people didn't want to do cash transactions, local advertising. Then we go to the 90s. You got the stadium seating, newspaper advertising, all that stuff. Let's go next slide. 2000s, digital cinema, upgraded PCs, online ticket sales. Mobile begins in 2010. There was a pushback on mobile. Do you remember, guys? This was really, important. And then all of a sudden, we started doing mobile ordering, and it was going to be the death of the interaction with the ticket taker and all those things. So now we're in the 2020s, and AI is that next thing. A lot of people are talking about it as a way to streamline processes, get rid of employees. We don't look at it like that at all. We look at it as a way to empower our teams to get information right to the field when they need it, how they need it, so that they can give a better guest experience. It really is helping all the stakeholders. And then there's been some ancillary benefits that have popped up, like for our vendor partners. As we're looking for parts to fix a projector or a popcorn machine, now all of a sudden we've been able to link right to the part that you need and save our partner vendors with a lot of the support that they have from their NOCs. Okay, so here's our journey. 3 years. I'm a movie theater operator. I really enjoy technology and I like learning about it, but I spent 3 years trying this. Anyone asks me about AI, I go, no, we're doing AI. Yeah, we're on top of it. We're cutting edge on AI, but we weren't getting any adoption at the field. There was a breakdown. It wasn't right. It would have a wrong answer. A lot of our team members would say, oh, this one part's wrong or it's a little bit weird. And I went to my friend who's actually here, Sean Jackson, and I said, hey, I'm giving up on this AI thing. I just can't get it to work as an operating system for our teams. He said, well, let me take a look at it. And a week later, he came back with the most amazing thing. So a little plug for EasyBot Chat, because we need to get adoption. We need to help the team get the information that they needed. And there was a lot of questions that I didn't know, like, how do you get a doctor? How do you change your health election? Or if you're a server, do you need to know the allergens that are in a certain menu item? These are things that weren't in our standard operating procedures, or even how to make perfect popcorn. It was handed down like by generation, but it really wasn't written down in a way that we could fix the things that we need. So those were the challenges. How could you use the tool? And then we came up with an awesome tool, except for it was behind a computer, and that's not where our employees were. So then we started using QR codes. We started using RFID and scans. So now the team, wherever they are, just on their phone, can ask it any question. And it's like having your very best regional manager, your very best person right there, 100% available. And instead of removing employees, what it's done is allow them to focus on the things that we think are important, like presentation, hospitality, making sure that every seat, every part of the experience, and selling more events. So those are some of the things that they've been able to kind of fill in those gaps. Next slide. Okay, so after trying to do it myself, and everyone I've spoken to has told me that they're doing AI already, we went to professionals. So having the idea, using chat, using it as a search engine is one thing, but actually implementing it as a mobile-first operating system or getting it going is a little bit different, and you need a delivery partner. So like we've partnered with Cinema Hero to do the delivery of what's going on. recently, we've added the Claude backend. So we've been able to create real-time data to our management on a daily basis. So it can look through our point of sale, it can look through our Google Analytics, it can look through all our reviews, and based on our specific policies and procedures and philosophy, give real-time suggestions to the team every single morning. This is how you performed. You didn't sell alcohol. You did great on this item. You got a couple bad reviews. You got a couple great reviews. Make these suggested adjustments. And pulling that all together and cumulatively pulling it together has really made a difference in what's the most important thing, for me at least. And that's why I wanted to be so open about sharing what we're really doing, is I really care about this industry. And I want us all to thrive. We've gone through a really, really tough 5 years. You know, we're all optimistic. I think this is going to be a great show. I think there's better times ahead for us. But if we don't get in this situation of raising the guest experience, making sure that we're streamlining our operations and providing hospitality, I'm concerned that our mousetrap won't be desirable enough. The guys from Cinema Hero and EasyBot Chat have agreed for Cinema United members only to do an analysis of your current system and help you at least get your first foot in the door. So they'll analyze your process for you with a proof of concept. I think they turn that around usually in a week, and you don't have to do any prep. It's just like if you're hiring a new employee, whatever you have for that, no prep, no setup, just tell them whatever you have, and they'll give you a proof of concept. So thanks for being so generous.
Otto, I'd like us to build on what Brian has presented to us. And I know you and I talked about the way AI is implemented within Vue and how it can be used. And I know we talked about AI in scheduling, customer survey, feedback analysis, digital marketing, corporate sales. So could you maybe tell us a bit more about it? Where also you've seen immediate impact, and maybe is there one that was easier to implement than the others?
Yeah, so we started our AI journey quite some time ago, about 10 years ago, 10 plus actually, focused on film programming using machine learning. And it's been really powerful. And I've talked on this stage about it before, and has transformed how we deal with that side of the business. But it is intense, and in terms of capex and time, and quite challenging. It's not something that is necessarily that straightforward to implement. And so what this slide, I should explain, I've sort of put together, is supposed to show is that there are kind of I see kind of 4 different approaches to AI. You've got things that are specialized to our industry, things that are general, things that are qualitative, and things that are quantitative. And film programming is very much in the top right of that. Very specialized, lots of quant, lots of numbers. And what we found is that with large language models, actually there's lots of opportunity in the bottom left-hand quadrant, where you've got things like Brian's use case, which I think is fascinating, lots of data that's not organized in a systematic way, lots of language, and that's exactly what LLMs can do and can support with. So I'll touch on 2 examples in that bottom half, actually. And first is customer feedback. So I'm sure everybody has a huge amount of customer feedback, and you probably send surveys out which your customers respond to, and it's super insightful. But actually there's incredibly rich data if you enable customers to give free text responses. Because if your customer who's compelled to actually write something down, take that time, then that's really, really valuable. But understanding what they're saying at scale is extremely difficult. You can look at survey responses, you can track performance over time, that's pretty standard, but just ingesting free text like that is not straightforward, and actually LLMs are perfect at doing that. And so one slightly odd use case we came across when we started doing this about a year ago, and basically feeding this free text responses into our AI systems, was we could see in the Netherlands, in our Dutch circuit, over a period of time, consistent references to the saltiness of our popcorn. And after a few months of looking at this, we realized that there was something falling down in the operations, and the guys were over-salting the popcorn. And there really was no other way that we could have found this out at scale. We could have asked our guys in the cinema, are you getting direct feedback? But that's hard too. So we just thought that was quite a neat and something you could probably do almost immediately. If you wanted to, you can use ChatGPT or Claude or whatever it is, and feed your customer responses into it, and and see what it's telling you. Another one I'll briefly touch on is digital marketing, though Maureen is the expert here, and I'm keen to hear her describe what she does in that area. But we found that one of the things we've always used digital marketing for, obviously, as everybody does, is local marketing. It's great at understanding, where somebody is when they're in market, their propensity to buy. But now with AI, we can actually match that with our individual proposition. So, does our local cinema have a PLF? Does it have recliner seating? Does it have a special offer? And then the copy of that advert can be adjusted to reflect that proposition and match that with that particular customer, which is fantastic in terms of being able to show something that's specifically relevant to them and specifically relevant to us. And so we've seen great results from that too.
Thank you. I'm going to turn to Marine, and then I'll have a couple of questions for you afterwards. But Marine, as Otto mentioned, you are an expert on marketing here, marketing and AI. And I know you and I talked about your perspective on how AI is transforming visibility and discoverability. So I'd be quite keen for you to dive into that and tell us how AI can help us with this.
Sure. So search behaviors are changing, and they've actually been changing for at least a couple of years, if not a little more, since the start of ChatGPT, really. And I don't think a lot of people realize how much they've changed. So this is a McKinsey study on what are the preferred sources of information during research or decision-making regarding a brand, a product, or a service. So how do people search for you? 44% search on generative AI. That's ChatGPT, Claude, and all the others. 31% is traditional search. Think Google, right? And now think how the last time you searched on Google for something, you had an AI overview at the top of that for probably about 80% of those searches. So if you put all of that together, it's really between the generative AI and the traditional search that's being answered by an AI overview, that's close to 75% of searches for a brand, a product, or a service that are being answered by an AI. So it's massive. And that changes things quite a bit because people used to Google stuff, and your goal was SEO, search engine optimization. You wanted to be ranked on that first page of the search result page as high as possible. But that was the main goal. Now AI is answering your questions or consumers' questions by giving 1, 2, or maximum 3 recommendations of where you should go for your date on Saturday night. So the key, if you want to go to the next slide, has become from SEO to GEO. That's generative engine optimization. How do you optimize your online presence so that your brand is the answer that AI gives when somebody searches for you online? So that's really a big change, and I wanted to give 4 very, very practical tips as to what you can do to improve your chances at being the answer. These are not like a guarantee that you'll be every time the answer AI gives, but it's things that AI takes into account that make a difference. So the first one is enriching and structuring your website data. Otto mentioned it a little bit around copy for your PLF and things like this. You need to enrich what you put on your website because people search with a context. They'll search for, what cinema is kids friendly or as a sensory experience, or where can I go where I want to get a cocktail when I go see Wuthering Heights. If your cinema website just has your showtimes on it, it's missing all that context that AI references when they search. So add copy on your location detailed pages on your website is really important. Structuring your website data is also making sure that the AI can read easily and understand what's on your website. So that's a technical part. Talk to your website provider about it, just to make sure that schema markup is implemented and tips that can make it easier for an AI to understand everything that you're saying. The second one is working on your proprietary data. So that's your business listings. So think Google Business Profile on Google, TripAdvisor, Yelp, whatever, wherever you're online, right? Add data to that. Make sure that you have offers and promotions and services. You can list all these things on Google My Business. It doesn't have to be just your address and your phone number. Add stuff to it. Make sure it's updated. Put it everywhere where you can on the web. It takes time, but it's worth it. And make sure it's the same data everywhere, because the more you have the same information everywhere, the more AI is going to think it's trustworthy. Because it's not like, different messages in different places that interconnect each other, and then they're like, I don't know about this one, it's weird. So make sure it's the same thing everywhere and be omnipresent. The third one is your reviews, online reputation. Maybe a lot of people don't read all reviews because there can be a lot, but AI reads everything, like Otto mentioned also. So what is written in your reviews is what AI is going to think about you. So first key, get reviews. If you don't have a lot of reviews, ask your customers to leave you a review. Put it in your post-showtime email that you send to your customer saying, hey, we hope you had a great time when you went to see whatever this weekend. Please leave us a review. And then when you do get a review, respond to it. Say, we're so happy you had a great time, or so sorry you had whatever happened, too much salt in your popcorn. We'll make sure to fix that for you next time. Okay. So that's the kind of thing that's important. And again, AI reads all of these. And then the last one is getting featured or mentioned in the press. The press is considered by AI as a neutral source of information. It's unbiased. So they take that into consideration quite a bit. So when you get a chance of being in Box Office Pro and Celluloid Junkie, in your local press, if you do an event and you send a notice to your local press outlet and see if they want to publish something about it, it's good places to be mentioned online. One more tip on the next slide is GEO tracking. So as I said, it's generative engine optimization. Track how you're coming up online. Go on ChatGPT or on Gemini and ask questions that your customers are asking and see if you're coming up as the answer. If you do something that's specific to your brand, to your cinema, you should be coming up. So make sure you try it and see how you're being portrayed by those AI engines. And then we can do it more at scale also with thousands or hundreds of prompts to make sure that your brand and each location themselves is being portrayed online. And what is your share of voice on those AI engines? One more thing I wanted to mention is ChatGPT apps. So this is something that's fairly new. It was announced by ChatGPT OpenAI last October. And it's a way for a brand to build an experience inside of ChatGPT. So you can say at brand name, tell me what's playing this weekend. And we're really excited to have launched the first ChatGPT app with Regal just last week. This is a great chance for brands, again, to have an input into what's being displayed on these experiences. And it's quite important today because there are some reliability issues on what's being shown on AI. I don't know if you guys have had customers show up at the wrong time and say, oh, I saw there was a 3 p.m. showtime for whatever movie today. And you're like, no, there isn't. Where did you see that? Oh, I saw it on ChatGPT. Well, that's because sometimes it keeps data saved from last week and it doesn't necessarily update to the right data. So this is an interesting way to take back a little bit of control over what's being shown there. So it's early days for all of that, obviously, but I wanted to make sure that, it's important for our industry to continue to innovate, to be portrayed on these search engines in the right way, to own your own data so that it remains yours, and to make sure that you're present where your customers are. And that's where they are now.
Thank you, Marine. That was extremely practical. Which was great. That was the plan. Quick question to the three of you before I open up the floor. Have colleagues been open to embrace AI, or have you met resistance? And if so, how have you helped your team to overcome that resistance?
Should I start that one?
Go for it.
A lot of resistance. So when we implemented the solution, it wasn't getting the usage or pickup that we wanted. And I realized something as simple as having dedicated password that you had to go through our learning management system was something that got in the way. So thinking about ways that you can make access a little bit easier, the solution that we ended up with was doing it through a private Wi-Fi network so that they could have access to the information. So there's security issues, there's data issues, but any hurdle that you put in the way of being able to get to the information, a lot of the team members maybe, are looking for a reason not to embrace. But once you get them started, they really love it. The example that I think is the most practical for ours is when I was walking around one of our theaters and the manager was talking to an hourly employee, and the manager asked him, well, what did EasyBot say? And the policy became that they print out the answers to their own questions before they asked the manager, which allowed the manager to really take care of hospitality, stay out of the office, and these recurring questions. But most importantly, it really empowered the team because they had what they needed to do their job and they didn't have to wait on anybody.
Yeah, at Box Office, we started an AI working group. So we asked for volunteers. We got about 5-6 people who are really interested and wanted to do more. And their job is, small part of their job, is to find cool, practical things that AI can do and email the whole company about it and give very clear task of give it a try. You go here, you do that, and see what comes up. The goal being to encourage people to use it to create presentations, to interpret data from an Excel spreadsheet using certain formulas that are now equal AI, etc., and it interprets whatever is in a table. So all of that, we're trying to encourage people and give them good ideas, one small idea at a time, so that it's not overwhelming, and push it forward.
Yeah, I think we've seen much more engagement in the last 6 months. Even it's very recent. When we first started using AI 8-10 years ago, it was very much a black box. There was a fair degree of distrust and a lot of time and effort needed to go into convincing people that this was beneficial to the business. And I think that a lot of that persisted. And maybe 12 months ago, the LLMs that were out there that were kind of first bringing AI to consumers in their day-to-day lives were full of hallucinations, and they were misleading. And a lot of people, I think, would try them because everyone was talking about it, quickly discover that there were these issues, and then go back to their kind of day-to-day lives. And you could see that in the frequency with which people were using AI. Very few people, and this is still true to a high extent, actually use it more than once a week. But in the last 6, even 3 months, the quality of the kind of over-the-counter AI tools that are out there has grown so exponentially that the quality of the outputs it can be trusted in a way that they couldn't be. It should all be checked, I should say. But people are, you can see, discovering practical uses, and there's been a sort of democratization of it across our business, whereby people are finding their own little use cases that they can share and see the tangible benefit. So it's becoming much more part of the kind of day-to-day working life.
Turning to the audience, because we have a bit of time for questions, so don't be shy. Anything you'd like to ask? Yep. Julien, please.
Thank you. Thanks a lot for the very interesting insights. Marine, you spoke a lot about the discovery process, but I'm curious what your vision is of how AI might impact the way people buy tickets online in the future. Is it a good news? Is it a threat? How do you view that?
Agentic commerce is something you guys might have heard about. There's been a lot of announcements in the past year of Walmart, Etsy, Target, and whomever building e-commerce experiences inside of ChatGPT and coming soon to Gemini. I think it's coming. I think consumers will get in the habit of buying things on AI, especially if you think of Gemini, it's connected to the entire Google ecosystem. So if you're using Google Pay, it's got your credit card information already. It's got your address to ship stuff to you or to email you confirmation emails. I think we're not 100% there yet. For a mini anecdote, I tried to buy a water bottle on Gemini. It told me, it said, yay, we ordered it. Here's your confirmation number. Here's how much it cost. Here's the shipping timeline. I had a tracking number. I waited 3 days to receive my water bottle. And every day I asked, where is it at? It's like, oh, it's being shipped. It's being delivered. It's 4 hours away. It's on your front porch. I went on my front porch. There was nothing. And then I was like, what the hell? And it told me that it was just to draw me a pretty picture and to get me excited about the future of e-commerce. So thanks for that. So it's, yeah, as I said, it's not there yet, but I think it will come. I think the interesting part is that it uses APIs to make those transactions. So it can, if it's your APIs or your point of sale system API, it can still talk to your backend. So it's still going to be your data. It's still you owning that, that transaction in the end. The money comes to you, it doesn't go elsewhere. So it's not necessarily a risk. I think it just needs to be handled well so that our customers get the best experience possible. And we all know buying a cinema ticket is not the same as buying a t-shirt. The seat map makes things tricky. So I think it will come.
Yeah, without being too philosophical, our industry is not known for being cutting edge or tech forward. Okay?
What do you mean?
So every decade, there's different things that happen. Maureen, I want to thank you for being on the front edge of that for the industry. I think this would be a call to our entire industry to get together and be on the cutting edge of concepts like this, because movie theaters, the information about the movie, it's very complex and it's perfectly fitted for us to take a step forward and keep our industry viable and front-loaded.
Hi, I'm a journalist and I'm a film critic, and one of the biggest conversations about theaters nowadays is the experience. You talked about the feedback, but how are you using to make the theater experience AI in terms of like a better experience, in terms of like reaching out? One of the things consumers are complaining about is that the costs are rising, but the experience is diminishing. So how are you incorporating that feedback with AI on building or rebuilding the relationship with the consumer, especially during these hard economic times?
I'll start by challenging the premise of the question, which is I actually think, based on going to theaters all around the country, that our experience actually is improving. But the answer, at least my answer to the question, is by getting the information, which can be disparate in a lot of different places, to the managers that can make a difference. So as an industry, we're having a concerted effort to really put a better guest experience in there. If we can add some hospitality and get the direct feedback, theater operators want it to be great. There's no theater operator in this room that I can think of that's like, I want my theater to be bad. And there's realities of cost too.
Yeah, I was just to add to that. I guess what we've tried to discuss today is that we're using AI to help us demonstrate to customers where we have invested, which we all have significantly post-COVID. So, that communication that we've touched on, how we're communicating with customers, what we're telling them, making it relevant to them. AI is critical to enabling that, but obviously it's also helping assist in all sorts of other areas. So be that, understanding the feedback or our programming times or our pricing or any of the various areas that AI is being deployed is all helping customers understand that, what we have to offer is of value to them and worth them coming out of their homes.
What I take away from the panel, if we try to just summarize it, is basically you need to start small, but you have to start now. Otherwise, you're going to be left behind. You have to focus on what you can control. So look at the task that you have to carry on in your cinema and where AI can save time. Size doesn't matter. Anyone can actually find a use of AI that can work for what they do and who they are. And also, and I love that you all say that, AI is not about replacing teams. It's about amplifying your teams. So for people who are in the room with us today and who run cinemas, if they could implement one use case next week, which one do you think it could be?
For me, the GEO tracking, look yourself up. It's easy. It takes 2 minutes. Search for, wherever you're based, like best place to catch a movie with a cocktail in Detroit. If that's what you do, you should come up. If you don't, that gives you a basis for improvements.
Otto?
I'd say drop your free text customer feedback into an LLM and see what it tells you.
The popcorn.
I would probably take a list of maybe the top 20 monotonous pain in the butt tasks that you have. And I would figure out if there's a way that AI with the combination of maybe Claude Cowork can help you automate those processes so you get some low-hanging fruit wins right off the bat.